Okay, it's recorded.
I see that it is. Okay, so our goals for today are, yes, to talk about resumes, but I want to walk you through some resources for creating a resume in an online portal where you can always have access to it. Um, we're going to talk about a few things that make a resume good and make a resume not so good. And I also want to introduce you to our YouTube channel where we've got a lot of wonderful resources and a career development section there, as well as a career development section in the Google Classroom. So, a lot to cover. I'm going to flip into a share screen right now so that you can see logging into my MassCIS account. Lorraine, I'm not sure you would have gotten this, but other students got a login sheet, and it's where we track a lot of login information. And at orientation, everyone sets up their MassCIS account.
No, I don't have one.
Okay, it's super easy, and
okay.
in fact, you can go to this website and just
okay.
Instead of logging in, you just create an account. It's super easy, but if you would like to do that one-on-one, happy to.
That's okay. Mass Career Information Systems.
Yeah, if you just Google masscis.org, you'll get there.
Okay.
But you don't need it in this moment. So one of the things that I want to show you is that if you are considering career, see how it says compare two occupations at once? You can do a side-by-side. If you're thinking, okay, do I want to become a social worker or do I want to become an accountant? So you click from the list. So I've got my social worker and my accountant. I can compare. And on the left, you'll see a whole list of topics that I can compare. Social worker on one side, accountants on the other. So this is a great tool for weighing choices. And let's say you want to find out what the working conditions are, or what the preparation is, how much schooling you need. If you want to see side by side, what do these folks earn? And it will show you in an hourly rate versus a yearly. It will show you state. It will show you region. And then down at the bottom, it's going to show you the nationwide median. And I know you math students know what a median is. So I just wanted to bounce over here quickly to show you this tool because it's a great way to explore different career options. But we are going to create a resume here. So at the top, you hover over employment and you go to resume creator. And from there, it prompts you through. Here's where you would enter your information about education and training, paid work and unpaid work. And unpaid work, we call that volunteering. That is legitimate experience, and absolutely you can put that on a resume. You would note it, but volunteer work can cultivate skills just like paid work, so don't hesitate to put that on your resume. Also, people say, well, I got paid under the table, so I shouldn't put it on my resume. No, not true. Go ahead and put that job on your resume. It's just not a question that people ask at an interview. Were you paid under the table? No, just put it on your resume because it demonstrates a place where you have earned and developed skills. So, for instance, if you click on paid and unpaid work here on the left, you'll see, okay, I've already put some things in my account, but I want to add a work history. So only the things that you actually need to put have a little red asterisk here, but you would fill out this information and then go down and save it. And it's going to then add it in a little list like this. You can go back and edit it later. You can delete it entirely. And you will click through these. And when you're done, voila, create resume. And I will suggest that you use the functional resume. And also this bottom thing about do not include references or a statement. It used to be that you would put a statement at the bottom of your resume saying references available upon request, but that's not necessary. It's redundant. It's taking up space on your resume for something that doesn't need to be said. So you still want to plug your reference information into MassCIS just so you have it. This is a great place to keep all of your work-related information in one place. Then you click Next. Now you can sort your resume the way you want. Like if I were fresh out of the military, I might want to put my military service right at the top. As it turns out, I've never been in the military, so I'm ranking it at the bottom and it won't appear at all. So I'm going to create mine as a Word document. I'm going to save it because I would be really mad if I didn't. And now I'm going to download it. And just like that, I have a resume. Now, here's an interesting thing and a choice that you get when it comes to how your resume looks, because you can organize your skills in two different ways. When you enter your skills, you have to, you have to use a label. But you have choices about how you do that. So on this side, I just decided to use one label, and I called that Special Skills. And I listed all of my skills under that one label. But let's say that you've got a number of different backgrounds and you want to be more specific. So over here, I've created, under Skills and Interests, I've used 3 different labels.
Wow.
I've got one for customer service, and then polished skills, communication skills, attentive to customers. Put little bullet points of skills under these different labels. Then I've got administrative skills. That would be a great place to put Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, maybe PowerPoint. And then, of course, I've got my pet grooming skills. I don't really have pet grooming skills, but just for the sake of example, I wanted to show you these 2 different ways that you can organize information on your resume.
Good.
Well, holy cow, this just seems like a crazy daunting task, but I promise you it's not. Over here in Google Classroom, I've added a career development section. So I'm going to ask you to either take a picture of or write down this class code so that you can join. And it's 65HH, B like boy, 7, O like open. And you can go to classroom.google.com, add a new class and use this class code. And that will connect you with a link to the MassCIS portal, just in case you forget how to get there, and 2 documents that are going to be helpful for when you enter this information. One is to help you gather information so that you can kind of put your thoughts together before you actually sit down at the computer to create your resume. And this is a step-by-step with pictures, little walkthrough of where in MassCIS you put the information you've gathered. So let's have a little peek at these documents. First, our information gathering. So in the Google Classroom, you've got a copy of this document. And straight away, I've preloaded it with information about your adult learning center experience. So you can put in, if you've already achieved your high school diploma, you can put that in. But let's say you need a resume now, but you haven't quite completed your high set. So you could put anticipated, and maybe it's anticipated for July of this year, or September, or August, whatever date feels true to you. You can say it's anticipated, and that's a
Good.
perfectly fine thing to put on your resume. If you've got other school experience, you can put it in here. You've got a little section for training and other education. A number of our students are nurse assistants, so you would want to put training like that in this section. Maybe you've got a commercial driver's license, something like that. Anything that is an extra skill that you have and you receive some training for, you can put it there. Again, more opportunity to put in your training. A section where we put in our experience. And here's an important thing that you want to differentiate when you're creating your resume. Here's a great example. People who are reading this are results focused, okay? So you never, ever, ever, ever want to lie on a resume. But how you present your truth is really important. So, for instance, maybe you've got a job where you empty trash and mop the floors. And those are literally the tasks that you are doing. But that's not what you necessarily want to put on your resume or lead with. So maybe what you want to say is maintain a clean, neat, and pleasant environment by emptying trash and mopping floors. So lead with the results instead of saying answering the phones. Be more descriptive. Answer phones in a professional manner. And then actions, providing answers when possible, transferring calls or taking messages when needed. So not just a 2-word description, answer phones, because that doesn't really paint a picture. But you can see a picture of a clean, pleasant environment in your head. You can imagine that. You can imagine someone being so pleasant, answering the phone, answering questions, directing calls. Yes, how may I help you? That demonstrates customer service experience within the description of what you're doing. So as you're thinking of your job duties, think of responsibilities and end results instead of just tasks. And we've got a number of places to enter that experience here. If you had military service, absolutely include that. And here's the section where you can put in your skills. And you see I've divided it in that way where you can have a general description and then list all of your skills underneath. Or you can have multiple labels, multiple descriptions, like I used for customer service, administrative skills, and pet grooming. Each one then had skills specifically about those things underneath. And then, of course, your references. And it's traditional to have 3 references. It's also a good idea if you're going out on a job interview and you're giving someone's name as a reference, give them a heads up so that they're aware that they might be getting a call. And if you can let them know a little something about the job that you're applying for, and particularly any skills that this reference would want to highlight on your behalf, let them know that too. They've already said they'll be your reference. So they're already in your corner. So ask them to be like a super helper and say, yeah, I'd really love for you to focus on how detail-oriented I can be. Or, what a pleasant customer service attitude I have. Ask them to feature various things. Give them a heads up. And then just for fun, at the end of this, I've listed some skills that employers like to see. They love to see, yes, I'm an eager team player. I love sharing responsibility. I'll help out a colleague. Technology, time management, motivation, work ethic. And if you don't know what these two words mean, they are something that employers really, really want to know that you have, but it's not something they can teach you. Having a good work ethic is being willing and pleasant about doing your job, showing up on time, being responsible. The opposite of having a good work ethic is saying, that's not my responsibility, and not pitching in when the team needs help, or just doing the bare minimum to get by. And that's the opposite of a good work ethic. Someone with a good work ethic wants to pitch in, wants to do better, maybe go the extra mile, do 110%, just because it makes them feel good, just because it answers their own satisfaction of a job well done. So if that is legitimately you, that is something you want to put on your resume, a proven strong work ethic. And these are skills on the left that you develop from parenting. If you're a parent, read them through. Even if you're not a parent, read them through and see if they're true to you. These are suggestions of skills that are valued in the workplace that we often develop from daily life. So that is a quick little trip through MassCIS. You log on to the first, go to Google Classroom, get these two documents. Oh, you know what? Let me show you the other one, which I did not do. The other document that would be handy to have when you finally open up MassCIS and start doing data entry is this one. And it's going to show you pictures of where you put the information. So literally, here's what you put in the browser. Here's where you log in. Here's where you click. Here's where you click again to start entering information. So it's got little pictures of where you put the information and little descriptions along the way to hopefully make it easy for you. And a few little tips, like, for instance, with your work history, you do not need to enter a street address. City and state, absolutely. You do not need to put in your pay. In fact, in Massachusetts, it's illegal for a prospective employer to ask what your last pay was. It is illegal for that to be asked. And I will tell you why. That became a law in 2016. And it is a practice that probably not intentionally, but happened nonetheless. It held women's pay down. Because if an employer says, what did you make in your last job? And the job you're interviewing for pays $15 an hour, and you say, in my last job, I made $12 an hour. The employer could say, this job pays $14 an hour, or even $13 an hour, knowing full well they could pay $15 an hour, but you were just making 12, so you're going to feel good about anything that's over that, right? So that rule was put into place in 2016, so you do not need to divulge your past pay history.
So I have a question then.
Mm-hmm.
So with the job that I've had since August, the Lynn manufacturing job, when I first applied there, I was told that their minimum was 15. And mind you, I'm one of two females who work in the factory itself and not in the office. There's 4 women total who work there, but 2 of them are in the office, and me and another one work in the factory.
Mm-hmm.
I was told that the minimum, before I even tried to apply, I was told that they said that the minimum was 15, but when I got in there, I asked for as low as maybe 14 just to be nice, and then I got hit with 13 an hour.
So if someone tells you the pay is 15, then you put a little smile in your heart and say, oh, that's lovely. When can I make 16?
Yeah, that's what I do.
I love your wish to be nice, but that is absolutely not necessary in that particular circumstance. If you were told 15 and you're making 13, that's a conversation to have with human resources. Not in a snarky way, but just an exploratory way. Hey, when I started, I was told this, and maybe you can use that as leverage for a pay increase. Was there a miscommunication? I was told that minimum starting pay was 15, but I'm seeing my paycheck at 13. Can you clarify this discrepancy? And what's the path forward for me to get to that 15?
Okay.
So that is totally a legitimate question. They have the right to give you whatever their answer is, and maybe you were given misinformation the first time around. Maybe it was an oversight. Maybe they can work with you to say, you know what, if you are a rock star performer for the next quarter, we'll bump you up $1. But that's asking about your path forward within an employer is perfectly fine. So don't ever think that you can't do that, and definitely don't take less than was offered. Absolutely.
Yeah, Brianna, I would just suggest once you have that conversation with HR to follow up in writing with a summary of what was discussed and start a paper trail. You need that for HR's purposes.
That is great advice. In fact, anytime you have a conversation with an HR representative or a manager, have your own little notepad. Keep your own little separate notes from work journal, because if you ever need to go back to it, you're not recreating from memory. You have written these things down in real time. And it's documentation. It's a paper trail. And I think, especially if you have a conversation with HR, as Stacy suggests, absolutely follow up in writing, just with a little summary. Here's what I heard, and send it off. That way, any discrepancies are cleared up right away. And they're also on alert that you're seriously paying attention. So
Okay.
Good advice. Thank you, Ms. Stacy.
Also, on top of that, because of COVID-19, we were supposed to get a $1 raise and then 25-cent raise. Because of COVID, they increased everyone's pay by $1, and I just got my pay stub on Monday for this week because we do direct deposit. I didn't get that. I didn't get that raise. I didn't get that $1, and I didn't get that 25 cents that they told everyone on the Zoom call that we should be getting.
That's a follow-up with HR. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was told it was supposed to be in effect for this week. I didn't get it. It's not on my pay stub. So where is it?
Well, I don't want to dive down into it, but it could be that you're beginning to earn it this week and you see it in the next paycheck. I don't know, but definitely follow up with HR.
Okay.
That is a legit question.
Okay.
So all of this is a little side-by-side to just help you know the steps for creating your resume. And it is in the Google Classroom. So again, MassCIS, you can keep multiple versions of your resume there. Resumes should not be a one and done kind of thing. You always want to keep updating it and making it specific to the job that you're looking for. So imagine that you are a large employer, you've got 75 resumes on your desk, and you've got to sort through them quickly. One comes across your desk, and the very first thing you see is their email address is cutiepants1973 @gmail. that is going to go directly into the no pile. Think about your resume from an employer's point of view. You want to top load it with your best juju. The top section of your resume is called the assertion section. Well, the very top, of course, is your contact information, but then comes the assertion section. And that shows what you are asserting, what you are putting forward. And you definitely want to look at whatever job posting you're responding to. And again, never ever lie, but if they say they need someone who is detail-oriented and you are detail-oriented, then you're going to put that in your summary of qualifications and in your professional skills. So they see that twice. That invites them to move on and look at the bottom part of your resume. The lower part of your resume is the evidence section. It's evidence of where and when you earned and developed the skills that you are asserting in the assertion section up at the top. So again, never, ever, ever lie, but top load your resume with your best stuff in summary, matching what they are looking for. That will invite the reader to keep reading. Remember this too. The job of a resume is not to get you a job. The job of a resume is to get you an interview. So every single thing that you put on your resume, if you say, like here, conscientious and trustworthy, it is open for that interviewer to say, tell me about a time you were conscientious. You don't want to just go, oh. You want to have a story in your back pocket so you can tell them that quickly when you were conscientious or when you were trustworthy, or a demonstration of your good oral communication skills. Have a quick story about every single thing you assert, because if they say, oh, tell me about a time you were proactive, and you go, well, let me think. You know, I'm proactive all the time. I can't really think of one. No. That is a waste of time in your interview. You want to have those stories in your back pocket. Now, when it comes to your resume, have a second set of eyes on it before you send it out. Have a friend, have one of us, have your neighbor, anybody look at it to look for typos that your tired eyes didn't catch, to look for wonky things like 2 different font types. Have a second set of eyes over your resume before you send it. So those are just some quick little bullet points of what you do and you don't want to do. And by the way, with Cutie Pants 1973, just use your North Shore email address. That's a perfectly good email address, and it shows that you are a part of the college community. So I know we're super short on time. In fact, we are right at the 10:30 mark, but before we bounce, I really want to hop over to the Adult Learning Center YouTube channel. Did y'all know we have a YouTube channel? We totally do. If you go to YouTube, there are lots of adult learning centers with YouTube channels. So this is what makes ours unique. It's Adult Learning Center, ALC, NSCC. This is our name. And here's the really fun thing. We've got playlists. So you can go here. We're on our home page now, Adult Learning Center, ALC, NSCC, and click on playlists. And you see all these great little bits, right? So you've got all kinds of math things broken down for you. You've got information about the high set. Over here, you've got some career development goodies. And here is some information about MassCIS. So resources are uploaded here. and we're really trying to build this channel so that you've got quick video resources. Over here is a training about the calculator for HiSET, which I think actually could go in the HiSET playlist. But yeah, so I just wanted you to know we've got resources for you in lots of locations. More resources now in the Google Classroom. You've got MassCIS, which is, once you have an account, it's Keepsies for life, and you can keep your resume there. And one final thing about resumes that we learned from a human resources person who came to pay us a visit at the Adult Learning Center. She said, you should add one new skill to your resume every year. It keeps you fresh. It keeps your resume updated, and it you know, it can be something as simple as, you know, I didn't really know Microsoft Excel very well, so I took a little class, and now I have Microsoft Excel on my resume. Or I'm interacting with a lot of Spanish-speaking customers, and I still don't know Spanish, but I'm listening to an app on my phone that's helping me understand Spanish words. You know, just any little thing. Keep adding one new skill to your resume every year. So I'm going to stop the screen share, bounce back. Anybody have questions before I leave you to Matt?
No, but the YouTube ALC is awesome. I didn't know about it. That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're putting new stuff in all the time.
I like that too.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So Diana's going to be planning a couple more workshops in June, specifically about interviewing and interviewing skills and mock interviews with real employers. So we'll keep you posted on those and spread the word. Thank you, Diana Amelia.
So can I just say one little tiny about that?
Sure.
2 weeks from today, believe it or not, is June 1st. No, June 3rd. Hopefully, we will have our next little session like this, and we'll be talking about interview skills. 2 weeks after that, on the 17th, we are getting volunteers from the local business community to do practice Zoom interviews with y'all. So that, because Zoom's a thing now, and lots of interviewers are just doing things over Zoom. So these will be practice Zoom interviews. Hopefully you'll do at least 3 interviews in the course of our little workshop with 3 different community members, just to get the nerves out and practice interviewing on Zoom. So 2 weeks and then 2 weeks more.
Thank
Thank
you. So
you.
much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Happy Matt.
Thank you. Good week.
Thanks, Diane. I caught the last 5 minutes because I couldn't get in.
Oh, well, Stacy recorded it, so we'll put it on the YouTube channel.
Great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
All right, thanks everyone. We're going to move on
Thank
to
you.
math class. So if you're not here for math class, see you later.
I'm going to stay for math for just a couple minutes.
Okay.